Hey, good morning, David. This is going to be, it's not a very quick demo, but a demo for your beautiful Exar corruption staff by Shadowfoil Props and purchased by way of Corbanth. Hey, good morning, David. Let's talk about your Exar corruption staff by Shadowfoil Props. This was designed by Shadowfoil Props. You bought this through Corbanth. Now we're starting this demo off a little bit different than what I usually do. I've got the saber broken apart, obviously, because there's just so many pieces. I mean, what do we got? Six different pieces to talk about. It's easier to show you now the separate pieces and then show you how to put it together. All right, so first off, I'm going to put one of these aside because they're identical, and we'll just talk about one and assume that it goes the same for both. All right, this saber is a one button setup, that one switch being right here. That's a plunger switch that you see on the inside, but you've got two different proffies here, right? So two different chassis systems, each controlling one side of this saber by one switch. This particular saber is running the Scrap Tech font by my buddy Keenan over at KSith. I know that you bought that font already, and I like playing around with it, so I put it on there. And you've been doing your own thing with Proffie, so I just wanted something to demo the saber. A copy of the config file is on each SD card, but they are identical. I just didn't want you having to guess which card to go to. All right, so that's what's going on there. Switching over here, I did take the screw out of here. All right, you had a pan head screw that looked just like this guy right here. I put these in your box. I put set screws here instead. I am more than happy to order two of them for you before I ship this out. The last time I did this for my buddy Sir Peanut Butter, what I did was I ordered these two screw replacements at 16 millimeters long. I don't remember the size, but I got a message over to Sam over at Shadowfoil Props this morning asking what size screw that is. So let me know if you'd like me to do that before I ship this out. I'll just put this off to the side until those come in. Alternatively, if you'd like to hurry up and get this in your hands, I can just message you and tell you what size that is, and then I can give you an Amazon link. But I like to use that spot right there for a chassis retention. And so how we do that, there's your chassis here. You've got two identical ones, right? These are both identical, all right, in every way. But you've got a blade side PCB. You've got a 22 millimeter Smuggler's Outpost Nano Elite speaker. You've got your single switch setup right here. Your Proffie V3 with access to your SD card and your micro USB. You do not have to pull it up to access, programming the board. If you have a 90-degree data cable, it gets in there fine. And then you have Shadowfoil Props lit PCBs on both of these. All right, and it says Exar staff, and then it says corruption underneath it. I had to read that because I forgot. I designed this chassis a long time ago. But yeah, Exar staff and corruption right underneath it. All right, so same for both. All you have to do is take this guy. You'll notice on this chassis there's a groove right here. All right, and that groove runs all the way to this switch, and that is what needs to line up with that actual switch, or the plunger switch rather. So if you don't have it clocked correctly, it's not going to go in. If you find that groove and you line it up with a plunger switch, it slides right in, just like that. All right, but you're going to want to make sure that you hold that correctly, and then you come over here and you tighten up this set screw, and that's what I'm going to do. Even if you get, those other ones that are 16 millimeters long, you're going to want to treat it the same way I'm treating the scrub screw. So once you tighten that up, it's not going to move. You can hear that tactile feel, so that one's good to go. All right, so we're going to put that off to the side here. Your handle, we're going to swap over to your handle and talk about your handle real quick. So I've got two of these loosened. We're going to loosen the other ones. This isn't something that you have to do all the time, all right? But you are going to have to loosen these three screws from time to time so that you can take this coupler off. Now, if you'll notice, this coupler slides over here. It will slide over here, and you see the cutouts right here for your sound venting, and you see the cutouts in this venting. When the saber is all together, that's how your sound escapes those vents. All right, so I just wanted to show you that's what was going on there. But before we put this coupler back on, we're going to talk about your battery chassis. So it's all by itself. Obviously, you've got a pin connector here, pin connector here. It doesn't matter how you put it in the handle because they're both the same. It does matter how you put the battery in, spring side being your negative, but other than that, it doesn't matter how you orientate it in this handle. All right, it says corruption over here, and it says corruption over here with a shadow foil props emblem, and then it says Solo Sabers with a Smuggler's Outpost emblem over here for me. All right, so you just take your 18650 battery right here, make sure you're going negative to spring, you pop it in like that. Now, like I said, you don't have to worry about which orientation to put it in, but you do need to take that coupler out, and you can leave one of them in. Now, when you take that coupler out, you just take your sled chassis, or not your sled chassis, but your battery chassis, you throw it all the way in there. Your coupler will go here, and it will slide right in. And when we lock this down, which we're not going to do right now, it will lock that battery in place. All right, but we're going to take this for now. We're going to take this coupler, we're going to go ahead and screw it onto this guy. You lock that down, all right? We'll leave that off to the side for now. We're going to take your other chassis, which is identical. We're going to do the same thing we did before, line up that plunger with the groove, throw it right in. We'll come over here. An easy way to know that you've got that lined up is I've got a post coming straight down, and you can line that up with that set screw. So you know if that set screw is in a straight line with this post right here, then you're good to go. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll lock that down as well. And then once you do lock it down, you can always give yourself a little sanity check. Come over here. You hear that clickiness, or you feel it, and you know you're good to go there. So we're going to take this guy first, and we're going to screw it into the side of the handle that we did not take the coupler off of. And I'll tell you why here in a second. When we lock this all the way down, we hear the boot. We heard the boot, so we're going to lock it all the way down, just like that. Now, if we wanted to operate it from here, we could. Right? But we want this as a staff. So the reason we didn't put the coupler on yet is because we wanted to screw this handle all the way down to see where this handle lined up with this plunger system right here, so that we could take this guy. Now we can slide it all the way in. You're going to have to push down on the handle, hold it in there. We'll tighten up that first one, and I'll show you what I did. Whoops, wrong wrench. Now the reason I did that was because if you see now in the camera, this button is now in line with this grip all the way over. That's in line with this plunger system. All right. You would go through and you would tighten all three of these. I'm not going to do it for the demo just because I need to get my battery out of there after I'm done. But now you can fire up this side, or you can fire up this side. And now you've got both sides going. And if you twist it off, we've twisted both sides off at the same time. All right. And that's how I set that up to work. So one thing I did do is the sound venting is underneath all of these grips. It's about right here, and it's about right here underneath each grip. There was adhesive over the sound venting. This is a trick that I learned from Sam. So I pulled the ends of each of these grips up, took my X-Acto knife, I cut the adhesive off of those holes, and then I put the handles carefully back on. I did that all the way around each side so you get as much sound as you possibly could. All right, and these take 1-inch blades. I'm just going to hold them in for now to show you that they fire up. So fire it up. So that's firing up a blade very well. All right, that's that side. So if we go over here, hold it in this side as well. we're firing up that side. To switch your sound fonts on a one button setup, if you had more than one, you would typically hold down, you would do a long press on the button really.
Scrap Tech.
It's just going to Scrap Tech because that's the only font we have. Now if you want to play your soundtrack, you got to do a quick double tap. Right, and then do a quick double tap to turn it off. Whoops, I turned the Saber on, just like that. And same over here, switching fonts,
Scrap Tech.
or sound font, or the soundtrack, right, or the soundtrack off. Whoops, I did it again. Just like that. All right, so that is basically how you work that guy. There is a lot of stuff going on here. Now, one more thing I'll cover. I hope this does not happen in shipping, but it might. I had to put all of these fins on. So I had to put these 4 fins on the emitter over here. I had to put the 4 fins on the emitter over here. And how I did that was on each one of these, I came through, there's a little groove. It goes from here to here. That's the only thing, that's the only groove for these guys, right? I put some CA glue in there. I put these fins down in there. I did that and I let it cure. If they happen to pop loose during shipment in the box, it's as simple as putting a little bit of glue in that groove that you'll see and then putting that fin back. They're on there pretty sturdy, so I don't foresee that happening, but I did want to mention that just in case. All right, I always get a little bit nervous on Sabers that I have to glue parts on, and so I just like to go over it real quick. Super easy to put on though. You shouldn't have any problems. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and bust this down. Oh, I did want to show you something real quick. No kill switch in the chassis, as you'll notice, because we'll turn both sides on. See that light there? See that light there? If you want to turn this off and not drain your battery and not have the battery touching the boards, all you really have to do is take the emitter, we'll do it this side first, and unscrew it a little bit. Right there. Now we've essentially killed power, all right? We're gonna go ahead and unscrew it a little bit so that we can align it with that grip. And we're gonna do the same thing over here. We're just gonna unscrew this until the power cuts. Right there, right? And then for display purposes, we'll just look at where we have this one lined up. We'll line it up with this grip as well. And now you can display that however you like and know that you're not draining your battery. And of course, when you want to turn it back on, now we've turned it back on. All right. But anyway, that is your Exar Coon. Let me know if you have any problems, or I'm sorry, no problems, but let me know if you have any questions, and I'll get this out in the mail to you by tomorrow. Thanks, man.